Okay, we are ready to get started here. We're going to talk today about competitors, and this is competitor training is a tough one to wrap your hands around because based on the list that I've received from Ahmed and Jeff and Javier and our team inside, there are so many different competitors that it's difficult to analyze every single one of them with definitive, this is why they're bad, this is why we're good, especially because some of them we do not have here, and I have never seen, touched, felt, or anything. I'm dependent upon what we've heard from you guys, and then also from what I've been able to find on the internet. And unfortunately, some of that is rather limited, especially like trying to get full package information with exact ingredient lists and what have you. So I have done hopefully as best I can here, and hopefully this will help clear up some of the differences between the products. So what I wanted to share first of all is this grid, and this shows you kind of the competitive landscape. The best way to think about competitors is to kind of classify them and then know based on what classification they're in what your selling advantages are before you even know any details about the product. So in the top left, we have the sheeting only products, and that would be Sikacare and Mepiform. What would the disadvantages of sheeting only products be? They don't have a full line of products. They only offer sheeting. They don't offer gel. And the most recent international clinical recommendations on scar management highly recommends the gel because it is more user-friendly and patients are very likely to continue using it. So, the companies like Sikacare, Mepiform by Smith & Nephew and Molinik, they are they're very limited in what they offer, both in different types of products within the sheeting and their lack of a full complement of products. So, put that kind of in your mind when you look at any product and say, do they have a full line of products? Do they have something to meet every scar? And these products do not. Oops. There's some, can you guys, whoever's not muted, if you could please mute, somebody's in a car, I think. So then we'll go over to the right top column or top box, and these would be the non-silicone topicals. These are products like Scarnox, Contractuvix, Mebo. These are products that are marketed for scars, but they have no silicone or minimal silicone in them. And we know, again, from the international clinical recommendations on scar management, the European scar treatment guidelines, the Chinese scar treatment guidelines, is that silicone is the only product which there is good evidence for efficacy and is considered to be the gold standard for scar prevention and for scar treatment. So these products, while they may have a nice story to them, while they may have a nice story to them, they are not what's recommended. They don't really have good evidence for efficacy. And what we kind of find is these products, some of them just tend to be the type that are not necessarily referred as much by doctors, but are referred friend to friend. And what somebody's family member used and they liked, or some people like the idea of things having more natural types of ingredients in them. And so when you see non-silicone, when you look at an ingredient list and you see no silicone, remember that is not, those products are not in compliance with what the international clinical recommendations for scar management recommend. So on a science-based selling message, they don't have what is the best products for treating scars. I'm going to jump down to the bottom left, you see the silicone gels, and it's a fairly competitive and crowded category. These would be products that are essentially all silicone or may have small amounts of things like vitamin E or vitamin C added to them, but in general, we would classify them as silicone gels. These would be our top recommended products because of the fact that they are silicone. But there are some inherent differences between the different ones, everything from packaging issues to the way that they feel, the stickiness, the drying time, medical grade silicone. All of these kinds of things can play a part in how they are different, even though they are all essentially silicone. And then on the bottom right are the companies that are most resemble ours. That would be Scar Heal, Biodermis, and BAP Scar. They're the full service companies. They're the ones that offer both topical scar products, silicone products, and sheeting. And in the case of BAP Scar, they even have a UV product. But again, we have to look at each product by product, and evaluate how is it different than what NewGel is, and whether what we have at NewGel is better or how it's different, so that you have a good selling message when you go out into the field. So I want to start with sheeting. There are fewer competitors in here, so it's a little bit easier. So we'll start with Sika Care. Sika Care tends to be, I would say, almost more of a hospital type of product. You don't see it it's not as much of a consumer product, but it is widely available. Smith & Nephew is a very large company in the wound care market, and all these types of things. So they have a good global presence, but it's just not. It just doesn't have very many options, and is it's got some issues with it. So they package them in a tray, in a pouch, in a box. So you get you kind of peel back the tray and get to the product. It is very thick. The silicone itself is 1.5 millimeters thick, which is 33% thicker than NewGel, which may seem like, oh, that's better, but the thicker it is, the bulkier it is, and the less visible, so to speak, it is. So we want to, we want to have that happy medium between a product that is thin enough that it's flexible, conforms well to the skin, is not super noticeable, but also thick enough that it's durable. And Sika Care is durable, but it is not as flexible as what you would get with a thinner sheet like NewGel. It is only available in that one thickness, and it only comes in clear. And it only has rectangular pieces. There are no shapes. And the most common size that we see in your markets is a 12 centimeter by 15 centimeter item. It is washable, but if you look at their directions, they say it only lasts 14 to 28 days, where NewGel with proper care, should last about 4 weeks or about 28 days. They recommend washing it twice daily, which is not something that makes it just less user-friendly. And it also has a relatively high price point. And you can see at the bottom there, I don't know why those blue lines are on my screen. I don't know if you can see that, but I apologize. Let me just do this real. Oh, I'm not sure why I did that. Somehow I think I'm drawing on my screen. Anyway, so the Sika Care product, this is an example of an ad that they've had. They claim that it's up to 90% effective. Something that I found interesting is that they claim that it can help scars up to 20 years old, which theoretically, if Sika Care can handle scars up to 20 years old, so should NewGel, because essentially it is silicone sheeting, the same thing. I didn't dig into it, but I would be interested to see what their basis is for making that statement, because that's a pretty big statement, and they're the only ones that I've ever seen make that statement. This says washable and reusable for up to 28 days, but their packaging information is where it says 14 to 28 days. I will say this, every product that I researched that is a silicone-based product, I swear the same person wrote all their packaging and all their marketing, because they almost all say the exact same thing. So as I talk about these products, I'm not going to talk about what they're used for, you know, what are they indicated for, what do they do, because they use almost the exact same verbiage: softens, flattens, fades, red, dark, or raised scars, scars that are caused by surgery, burns, accidents. You know, this type of language is consistent along all of the silicone products. We pretty much all say the same thing with just slightly different words. So where we have some differences is where we have a product like this, where they are claiming effectiveness up to 20-year-old scars. On the right are some packaging that I've seen that seem to be a little bit more of a newer version of packaging that's out there. I'm not sure which countries those are available in, but you know, despite the different locations on the body, as you can see, it's essentially the same type of strip. So there are very limited sizes. Their biggest size is, you know, when you talked about 12 millimeters or 12 centimeters long, you know, none of their pieces are going to be big enough to cover a tummy tuck scar or a scar of any length, a brachioplasty scar, you know, an open heart surgery scar, anything that is of a relatively long length. You're going to have to buy multiple of these and stick them next to each other to be able to cover the whole scar. This is an expensive product. Imagine if you have to buy 3 of them every 2 weeks to cover your tummy tuck scar. It just does not make good financial sense long term. And there are much better options for patients than having to patch together multiple sheets to cover the same area. NewGel is significantly lower in cost than Sikacare. We have the shapes as well as the strips. They do not offer any breast shapes, no areola circles, no anchors, no breast kit, no dots, nothing besides rectangles, essentially, and small strips. Our product, NewGel, is thinner and more flexible, so it's going to do a better job of adhering to the skin and moving with the patient. We also have 2 different backing options. We do have the fabric backed, which is a little bit more durable, and then we also have the clear, which is a little bit less visible on the skin. We do have a storage tray. They do in a way, but as you can see in this picture, it's just kind of a clear plastic, and you peel back the covering. So it doesn't really have a way to close it up like our clamshell packaging does, where you can put your strips in there, close it, and you know, that nothing gets to them. And the other big issue, as we talked about initially, is that it is a sheeting only product. There is no topical gel option. So by choosing Sikacare, yes, it's widely available, but this is not the most patient-friendly option. It is a medical option, I would say. But when it comes to a patient that's taking care of their scar for 2 to 3 months on an outpatient basis, NewGel is a much better product for them, just because of the options and the comfort and the durability of the product. Oops. So the second one we'll talk about is Mepiform. Mepiform is packaged in a pouch in a box. It's very, very thin. You can kind of see, you know, this corner peeled up here. It's really, it's essentially is like a silicone coating. It's not really a sheeting with a beige backing on it. It's, you know, it actually seems to be more of a tape than a sheet. It's only available in sheets. As you can see, there's only 3 sizes available. That's it. There are no shapes, there's no long strips. So again, the same issue that we have with Sikacare is that if you have this tummy tuck scar where you would normally use a 2 inch by 24 inch strip for a tummy tuck strip in NewGel, you would have to take their products and kind of, stack them next to each other. They are only indicated for 3 to 7 days of use per piece. These are essentially disposable products. You put them on, you leave it on for 3 to 7 days, you throw it away and put a new one on. So if you factor that in, if we're looking at 12 weeks, that would be buying or using a new product. Over the course of treatment, you're probably buying at least 12 to 15, if not more, sheets to cover the same scar. Multiply that times what you would need to cover a longer scar like a tummy tuck scar, or imagine trying to use these rectangles on a mastopexy or breast scar where you've got a circle around the areola, you've got a vertical piece connecting the areola to the breast crease, you've got that curved scar in the crease of the breast with a breast reduction. It just would be very, very difficult to kind of cut and paste these to fit all of these different shapes and sizes. So again, very, very thin, not durable, disposable, and there's only one color, one thickness, and very limited durability. The benefits of NewGel would be the fact that it is significantly thicker. You've got a more durable product. You've got a longer usable life, so it becomes more cost effective. It can be washed and reused. We had the shapes and we have long strips, which they cannot offer and would require purchasing multiple options. We have 2 different backing options. We have a storage tray that it can be placed in whenever it's not in use. And Mepiform, again, is a sheeting only product. They do not have a topical gel option. So it's just, you don't have that full array of options to choose from. So next would be the Scar FX sheeting, and these are by Scar Heal, which is an American company out of Florida. They do come in more sizes than what Mepiform or Sikacare do come in, but it again is a very thin sheeting. It's a little bit less than half as thick silicone-wise as what the NewGel products are. And if you notice in the picture on the bottom right, you see that roll of tape? Every single one of their products comes with a roll of tape. So if you see a roll of tape, what is that going to indicate to you? Pretty much that it's not adhesive very well. So when you already are just giving somebody a roll of tape, you're pretty much saying, hey, this is not going to stick very well, and you're going to need tape to hold it on for any length of time. So they do have the different sheeting and shapes, but I'll show you on the next page where their breast sheet is it's just one piece. So again, that would be more difficult. Where we have the breast kit, which is an areola circle and an anchor, you can move, you can trim down if need be the top of the anchor, the part that sticks up vertically. You can adjust the spacing between the areola circle and the anchor. Their product for the breast kit, it's one piece. It's the areola and the anchor all connected together. So yes, you could cut it apart if you needed to, but it does not offer as much flexibility as what ours does with the 2-piece kit. It says that it's reusable for 30 to 45 days, but they only have one thickness and color. They have only clear products, and they're all the same thickness, which is half as thick as what NewGel is. And they do have a relatively wide array of sizes, although the 1 by 1 inch strips would, we know from experience that it's very hard to get small squares to stick for any long period of time. And then if you also notice that and we'll cover it on over here, but if you look at the lollipop here, and you can see how skinny that vertical piece is. What we've learned over time is that if you don't have enough surface area to allow the silicone sheeting to adhere to, it's more likely to lift or not stay in place. That's why all of our long strips, especially our tummy tuck strips, are 2 inches wide. Our C-section strips are 2 inches wide, because to stay on and adhere securely, you need that extra on each side of the scar, especially, you know, where it's rubbing against clothes and things like that. So, you know, some people may think smaller is better, but it does not necessarily stick as well when you don't have as much surface area for it to adhere to. This, you can see at the top picture here, what I had spoken of is the one-piece breast kit. I think all you have to do is go and look at a doctor's before and after picture pages, and you will see that not all breasts are equal, and it's very difficult to have, you know, one size fits all breast product. Having the 2 separate pieces is much more adjustable and able to adapt to multiple sizes and shapes of breasts. NewGel Plus, we don't require adhesive tape to stick. Yes, after you've been using it for multiple weeks, if it doesn't seem to be quite as sticky, you can use adhesive tape to stick, but in general, it is self-adhesive and does not require the assistance of tape. And imagine how cumbersome it would be to have to try and tape down, you know, all the edges of something like that breast shape, that the full breast piece that you see on the top right. Not very user-friendly to do. They have a silicone gel. I didn't see on the list that Ahmed had given me much about Rejuvasil, which is the silicone gel that they do offer. That product is an oily and more oily and sticky silicone gel. It may be in some of your markets, and if so, we can go back and speak more about that later. But Star Heel is one of those companies that does offer a full line of products. They offer both sheeting and gels.
Hey, Lisa.
Yep.
You might have in the PowerPoint presentation, like the highlight pin on.
Yeah, I don't see, because, let me, because I see the annotate, but I don't see, maybe this is.
Unless, oh yeah, now it's getting worse.
Yeah, well, yeah, I see, I'm gonna undo. Whoops. Here, let me do this real quick. Let me see if I can undo the drawing. For some reason, it seems like because it's on my second screen that it's not very user-friendly. Let me see if I can, it's not letting me X out of that.
Unless you want to exit without saving and then come back.
Yeah, I can try that real quick. I was trying to see if I can't get it to, all right, let me do this. And let me go back to share my screen. And I want, sorry guys, bear with me 1 second here. Now I lost the controls. Here they are. Okay, are we back with no drawing?
Yes, yes, you are.
Okay, good. All right, let me jump back to where we were.
I will ask everyone to please mute your phone or your computer. Somebody's computer or phone is not muted. We have to figure out.
Yeah, I'm not seeing where I do. Wait, let me see if I can do
And
this.
they should have an unmute all. When you
Yeah.
click,
Star FX لازم. Star FX.
Right, yeah, I know where I am. No, I was looking for a way to mute everyone with one, but I'm not, I'm not seeing where that is.
when you go to the mute, maybe under participant, when you go to participant.
Yeah, I was just there.
Okay, or about under mute, you click, there's a, I don't know who's that person who's got the phone on or the computer on.
No, this is just showing my ability to mute.
But located in the meeting control, it says click participant button located in the meeting control.
Okay, wait, I see it now. Okay, got it. Thanks. Okay, so we are on to Epiderm, which is another American company called Biodermis that is one of our competitors here in the US as well. It's very, very thin sheeting, very thin. They do offer two backings. They have a clear or a natural backing. Natural is what they call their beige fabric backed product. They also have some small strips that are available in a pink or green camouflage pattern geared more towards children, trying to make it fun for kids to wear the product. They do have sheeting and shapes. One of the things that they have here in the US, if you see the bottom here, the stack of products, they tend to do, at least in the US, a lot of multi-packs where they're quite expensive, but you get a number of products in one package. But they all come in a pouch, and like you can see here, whether it's the natural or the clear, these are washable and reusable, but it says it will only last for 1 to 2 weeks. So after a week or two, you know, it's no good anymore. It's not going to stick, and you have to get a new one. They also offer a topical silicone ointment that's called NewGel, and then they also have something called ProSil, which is in a stick. Neither one of those came up on our radar as ones that seem to be out there for you guys in the Middle East and Europe. But if you do see that, again, let me know and we can talk about those separately. I will say that their NewGel is very, very sticky, and it's not a very nice product to use. They do have a product called Scar Esthétique, which is more of a moisturizing type of product. It is not a silicone-based product. So again, they have the standard sizes, as you can see at the top, which are not as many as what NewGel carries. And then we have, as far as shapes, they have areola circles, lollipops, anchors, C-section strip, what they refer as a C-strip, which is a 15 centimeter long strip. And then they have what they call epitabs, which are little squares that are 3.18 centimeters square, or a circle that's about 1.9 centimeter in diameter, that come multiples to a package similar to what our dots do. So as you can see, whoops, I got way ahead of myself here. As you can see over here on the right, you can see the camouflage versions. Those are their small strips, and they come in a pink version and a green version. The natural, you can see below that. And then at the bottom, at first when I saw this, I thought, oh, they have pink products, but it's the liner on all of their clear products is pink. It says for easy visibility. So as a marketing person, I would say that's a great idea because it's very difficult to photograph our clear products. But I think that I'm probably not the only person that looks at their product line and doesn't read the small print and assumes that they are pink when they're on your body. So they have a pink liner on all of their products that are the clear products. Again, if this kind of goes back to this whole durability thing, if these only last 1 to 2 weeks, think of the number of these you're going to have to use over a 3-month course of treatment or a 12-week treatment period. The initial cost on some of these may be lower, but if you do the math and you say, okay, well, the cost is lower, but I have one of the NewGel sheets is going to last for about a month, 4 weeks. I'm going to need 3 of them over my 3-month course of therapy. With Epiderm, if it only lasts 1 to 2 weeks, you're going to need at least 12 of them, not 3. So if you multiply the number that will be required to complete the full course of therapy times the cost, quite often, even though it appears to be a lower price, it ends up being much more expensive because you have to purchase so many of them. And the goal is to use these products for at least for 3 months for the full course of treatment. If a patient has to keep rebuying and they decide to stop, they're not going to get the best scar results. So, from a doctor's perspective, if somebody seems very motivated to fix their scar, having something that's going to be more durable, that is easy for them to use, and they don't have to keep constantly rebuying them, is going to be going to make it more likely that the patient will continue their therapy and get a better result. Because as I always tell people, if it's not stuck on your skin, it's not doing anything. So it is a purely physical thing. So if it's not on there, it's not working. Their strips are only, their longest strip is only 29 centimeters long, which again is not going to be as long as our 24-inch long product. So for a tummy tuck, you're probably going to have to use more than 1 strip to cover the entire tummy tuck scar, times multiple strips every 1 to 2 weeks. So that cost on a tummy tuck type of incision keeps growing higher and higher and higher. The same thing with brachioplasty, scoliosis surgery, anything that has a very long scar. They're also only 3.6 centimeters wide. It's not as wide. It's not as wide as our 2-inch product, and so when you have again that less surface area to cover it, it's more likely to peel off or not stay in place like we would want it to. It also provides less of a kind of a cushioning protective effect that that the NewGel 2-inch strips can provide. Their circles are 25% smaller than our dots, and we know that the smaller they are, the harder it is to keep them to stick. So there's probably issues with adhesiveness of their circles. They do not offer a breast kit. With NewGel, we offer the breast kit, which offers a savings compared to buying the individual pieces. They only offer areola, lollipop, anchor. They do not offer it together. So every time you need to buy a new item for every 1 to 2 weeks, you will need to buy multiple pieces. They do not have a breast kit. And they also don't have any way to store them either. Like I said, they come in a pouch in a box. And so, if you're not wearing it, there's really no good way to store them and protect them. So our final sheeting competitor that we're going to talk about today is BAP Scar Care by BAP Medical out of the Netherlands. This was an interesting product for me to take a look at because it's the only one that I've seen that has 2 different types of sheeting. They have their BAP-SCAR Care T and BAP-SCAR Care S. So as you can see here on this carton, you see the big T above the sizes, and that indicates, that it is this T, which is extra thin silicone bandage. It is less than 0.1 millimeters thick. So it, similar to Mepiform, is more of a tape than it is really a sheeting type of, or traditional sheeting. They claim that they're virtually invisible. They self-adhere. Their positioning for these products is that it's ideal for skin folds and joints, and that goes hand in hand with what we know. You need, the thinner the product, the more flexible it tends to be. But these are fully disposable products. You wear them for only 5 to 7 days and then replace. So you put it on, leave it on, shower with it, sleep with it, everything, and then take it off and replace it every 5 to 7 days. They only have 3 sizes, these 3 sizes you see here, and they come in packs of 10, because obviously it's being a disposable product, you would have to keep replacing them. We have a similar product here in the US called ScarAway, and I know from experience, having tried them, that they tend to roll up, and I think I had trouble keeping one on for a full day without it getting all rolled up and unstuck. I think it would be difficult to keep that in place for 5 to 7 days, especially like in areas around the waist, like for like a C-section, tummy tuck, anything like that. And again, their longest one is only 30 centimeters long, so that's not going to cover most tummy tuck scars. You're going to have to use multiple strips to cover that same scar at any one time. So, nice and thin, but not very long lasting, essentially a disposable piece. Their second type of product, whoops, I have the wrong picture in here. It should be the S product, where this has a T, it has an S, and it comes in all of these sizes you see over here. This is a washable and reusable silicone bandage. It is self-adhering, and it's much thicker than the T. It comes in 10 shapes and sizes, but again, there's only one backing. It's a clear backing, and you can see the different shapes up here. 40 centimeters, their ab strip is 40 centimeters, and so it's still not quite as long as our longest strip. But it also does not have the full breast kit like we offer as well. And the anchor is the abdomen strip, as you can see, is curved on both ends, which might be okay for certain tummy tuck scars. But if you have a long scar like brachioplasty or scoliosis surgery or something like that, you really don't want it to be curved on the ends, because it is truly a linear scar. And if you don't use that piece, the next option is only 20 centimeters long. So you're going to have to use multiple of those every time you use them. So NewGel benefits, NewGel is even thicker than what their S product is, and look more durable. All of our products are washable and reusable. We don't have a disposable option that can cost a lot of money over the long haul. We have a lot more shapes and sizes available than what they have. We have 2 different backing options, and we also have a storage tray to keep the products in. So there's definitely some differences in those. This is the third company that does offer a full line of products. They do have a silicone gel, topical silicone gel, and a silicone gel that has sunscreen in it. So it is probably head-to-head a pretty close competitor to what NewGel is, but I think from a quality standpoint, we have advantages over what they have. So I put together this comparison chart. It is by far not comprehensive, but it's kind of a good cheat sheet that says, what kind of, do they come in sheets? Do they come in shapes? When I say sheets, I tend to mean rectangles. That would be strips or rectangles, not die-cut shapes. Then there's a line that identifies whether they also offer a gel. We look at what backing options are offered by each of these, the thickness of them. Oops, I stretched out my columns earlier and some things didn't follow along. So, this talks about the thickness. And one thing about NewGel, Mike pointed this out to me today, is that we say that NewGel is 1 millimeter thick as far as the silicone goes. The clear, the product with the clear backing is 1.3 millimeters thick, and the fabric backed items are 1.5 millimeters thick. So you can see, get a feel for the thickness. If you look at Sikacare, it's 1.5 millimeter full thickness, and that is without any fabric backing. So you can kind of picture how much thicker that silicone portion is on that Sikacare sheet. And then obviously comparing it to the much thinner options that you see here. Storage tray, whether it comes with a storage tray, and then we just did from a cost comparison, where does it fit in the range of low, medium, and high? And some of these fall into medium and high range because because of the number of products that come in a package. But Epiderm, remember, even though it's low to medium, you have to buy quite a few of them. So, the individual cost may be lower, but when you try to buy enough for a full course of therapy, it gets very expensive. So any questions on, I don't have the chat up here, but if there are any questions on the sheeting competitors, I want to move along to the silicone gel.
So Lisa, this is Mike. One of the questions I responded to one of the people there, they said, like you mentioned, 1.5 millimeter with Sikacare, and I told them that our silicone, just the silicone without the backing is 1 millimeter plus. And I mentioned that what we found, she said, well, if it's 1.5, it'd probably be more effective. I said, no, we found through Dr. Wilfred Lynch, who was actually the first guy who started the Silicone Society in the United States in the 40s, 50s. He worked with us for about 5 years from 99, and he passed away, I believe, in 2010. He worked with my partner, Haytham, and Dr. Hani Matlub and Dr. Narini. We found there is the best effective thickness of silicone was about 1 millimeter. If you go lower, it will not last long, and definitely if it's very low, it doesn't have very strong effect. If you go too high, it doesn't affect anything except it's not very flexible and not mobile. So through for at least 5 years, almost 6-7 years of studies, we found the 1 millimeter silicone plus the backing. So the backing, we have it in clear and we have it in beige. In clear is about, it add another 3 millimeters. So it's about 1.3, 1.35 millimeter. The beige is 1.5 to 1.6 millimeter. So really the silicone itself is the best we found. The optimal is 1 millimeter thickness. And using medical grade silicone versus 99%, except Sikacare is the only company that they use medical grade. Everyone else do not. And Sikacare cost is about 2 to 3 times higher than our sheeting because they are the only one using medical grade. But as you guys know, Smith & Nephew is a huge company, and they don't care. So really, they're not pushing that product. They're mostly in orthopedic and wound care. So for them, it's a very small market. They did a good job, but then they found out that they're going to sell it as high as possible. If they want it, fine. But that's why we are very fortunate to manufacture the silicone, all our product in-house, that allow us to provide medical silicone with very competitive pricing, because we manufacture and we're not a huge company, which that also add the overhead. And so we buy our raw material is, we buy it from Dow Corning, which is now DuPont from the US in Michigan. So we know we have the best material, the most expensive raw material, which is the most effective, versus we found the other silicone, not as much, the 1 millimeter versus 1.5 does make a difference in the result. So I do say that that was one of the questions, and I want to emphasize the uniqueness of our silicone and the price. Even you might think it's high, but Smith & Nephew is 2 to 3 times higher because they're the only one use medical grade. So we're very competitive in sheeting, silicone sheeting for non-medical silicone. Even they claim, but no one is, unfortunately, we don't have the body that check the exact silicone raw material. They have too many things to worry about, especially it is not something implantable. The implantable products that you get implanted has to be medical grade because otherwise, like the silicone, you know, for the breast augmentation, for the, they have to be medical. We are the same class that we buy that is used for implantable. So that's a uniqueness in our sheeting versus all the other sheeting with all the shapes and all the different tube backing. So that's what I want to add through the chat we looked at. So thickness is the pressure indicator. So it is the efficacy, no? Yeah, the pressure, that's another chat here. The pressure, but again, we found the pressure is based on also the tackiness, the thickness, the backing. So we do have the best from flexibility to mobility to multi-use thickness and backing in the whole market. Okay, that's all I have to say, Lisa.
All right, thanks, Mike. I also saw somebody asked a question via text about efficacy over the competitors. You know, most of these competitors, very few of them have their own clinical studies that, you know, using their products. If you look at their references and their you know, basis for their science, they tend to all reference the same articles and we use the same ones as well. Silicone gel sheeting has been around since the 1980s. You know, it's been proven to work. Silicone is silicone, you know, so it's, you know, you have different grades of it, different thicknesses, different backings, all of these kinds of things that make the usability difference. But theoretically, the silicone gels should all, I mean, silicone sheeting should all work the same. And so you find most of these companies are not spending money, ourselves included, on proving something that is an accepted truth, you know, in the general medical community, that silicone gel sheeting works. It's finding the one that works best for you as far as price, as far as durability, backing colors, all of these kinds of things. So similar to a car, we know that, you know, we all assume that a car will get us from point A to point B, right? You can get there in a smart car, you can get there in a Ferrari, you know, but it's still going to do the same thing. It just depends on, you know, your budget, your personal preferences, you know, the colors you like, all of these kinds of things. So, you know, so keep that in mind as you're trying to sell these products, that we need to make our product appear to be the Ferrari, not the smart car, and show that we offer all of the options and the upgrades that you can get with the silicone sheeting. Okay, so let's move on to the silicone gel competitors. And I am going to apologize ahead of time because a lot of this is going to be repetitive because they're all silicone gels. So just like we talked about this for the sheeting, the same thing applies to the gels. It is, you know, silicone is silicone, but it can be anywhere from an oil to a solid. So everywhere in between. So silicone is silicone, but you need something that's going to adhere to the skin, that's going to be user-friendly, not sticky, dry well, you know, all of these kinds of things come into play with it. So again, it's looking at the options, the price, the full package that you get with these products when you're comparing them, because we do not have head-to-head competitor studies against most of these, because essentially in a controlled environment they should work, but what is the patient going to be willing to use for a full course of therapy every day, twice a day for 3 months? So that's what we need, how we need to look at these products. So Kelacote is probably one of the widest known products. For those of you who don't know, I used to work on the Kelacote brand for many years before coming over to New Medical. I worked on them. I worked for Advanced Biotechnologies. They then sold it to Sinclair IS Pharma in Europe, and I worked for them for a year on the global marketing. And then left there, and then I ended up with New Medical. But I'm very familiar with these products, so if anybody has any questions or issues with these, just let me know, because I do know them pretty much in detail. It is, from a silicone gel standpoint, it is a full line of products minus sheeting. So they have the regular gel that's 100% silicone. They have a spray, an aerosol spray, and they have a gel with sunscreen. Alliance Pharma in the UK is the newest owner of it. Sinclair sold most of their consumer dermatology type of products to Alliance. This is the third company that has owned this product in the last 10 years. So first it was Advanced Biotechnologies, then it was Sinclair, now it's Alliance Pharma. This has made some of the distributors nervous, because they're a little bit hesitant to put a lot of money into Kelacote, because they're not sure what's going to happen with it. They're not sure if this new, every time it changes owners, whether the new owners is going to already have a distributor for their other products and they're going to lose the product, or if someone else is going to own it next week, or if someone's not going to put money into it. So there's a lot of unknown that all of this turnover in owners has caused with Kelacote. And in fact, I know that several of the folks that I know who still are selling Kelacote have contacted me for some information, because they just don't feel secure and comfortable with the brand anymore, given that frequent turnover. So it is not made by any of these companies that have owned it. It is made in the US by a contract manufacturer. So they do not manufacture their own product. There is no mention of medical grade silicone in anything. And at least all I can speak of is from when I was there, it was not they were not medical grade products. I don't know if anything has changed since I left, but I do not see any mention of medical grade in any of the online sources that I looked at, marketing materials, anything like that. Just as a note, it does look like they have launched some new packaging. You can see it at the bottom here. They have the dark blue band across the middle. It's still multi-language, but as you can see, it's a lot more crowded looking. I don't know that I like it as much, but maybe on a retail shelf it pops better. I'm not sure, but I have seen this new packaging appearing in repeatedly online. So you may see the older packaging or this new packaging. So Kelacote gel, we're talking just the plain gel right now, is polysiloxanes and silicon dioxide, which is 100%, which is all silicone. It's just different formats of silicone. It's a combination of liquids, silicones, powdered silicone, all of these types of things that work together to form this product. Just like any of the other scars, use multiple types of silicones to achieve their final product. The way so there are 3 different size tubes of their gel. There's a 6-gram tube, a 15-gram tube, and a 60-gram tube. And initially this was designed for scar size. So if you have a small scar, 5 centimeters or less, you would use the 6-gram tube. If you have anything over 7.5 centimeters, you would use 15 grams. Anything over 17.5 centimeters, you would use the 60-gram tube, and so on. The problem has been is that people have started looking at it as just a pure price point thing. And they say, oh, they have a 6-gram tube, it's cheap. Yes, it's cheap, but isn't that good of a deal? You know, this is, if you look at the square box in the orange box, when a manufacturer makes a 6-gram tube compared to a 15-gram tube, all the manufacturing costs, or, you know, the labor, the time, everything is the same. There's very little difference in cost between a smaller tube and a bigger tube. And the amount of product, you know, the cost of that is negligible. So unfortunately, the manufacturer cannot discount the 6-gram as much as they can the 15-gram just because of costs. So that tube is so small that they actually give this, I mean, they actually, I've seen this given away as a sample, which if you give away a 6-gram sample, you're not going to get a sale. It's so small that unless it's a small, more like a dermatology scar, the patient is going to need to buy multiple tubes to get a full 90 days of treatment. Even a breast augmentation, that is not enough to use over the course of time. You will have to buy multiple products. Yes, the initial cost to purchase it may be less than buying a larger tube, but over the course of the 3-month treatment, it's going to cost them more. If you look at it on a per gram basis, if you take the price of the 6-gram divided by 6 and the price of the 15-gram divided by, if the price of the 15-gram divided by 15, you'll see that that 6-gram tube is actually 30% more expensive per gram than the 15-gram. So it's really not that great of a deal. I understand that, you know, a lot of you have asked about a smaller size due to the cost, but I think this goes back to educating our physicians about, you know, the fact that this is a 90-day course of therapy to get the best result, and we need to make sure that the patient is using the product regularly. And if they do that, that 6-gram is not going to last very long for pretty much any plastic surgery scar. A 6-gram would be enough to use if you have, say, a mole removed, like a biopsy, a very small incision. But in general, most plastic surgery scars, that is not going to be nearly enough product, and they're going to have to keep buying and keep buying. And if they don't keep buying, guess what? They're not going to get the best effect of the product because they haven't used it for the full course of therapy. So keep that in mind as as we look at that 6-gram. Oh yeah, they have a 6-gram, it's cheap. Yes, but you're paying a premium for that 6-gram, 30% more expensive on a per gram basis than the 15-gram. Kelacoat, even though it says that it's self-drying, it has a very, I will be the first to admit this, and I sold it. It is sticky until it's dry. It will eventually dry, but it does stay wet and sticky for a while. And one of the biggest problems is that people tend to put on too much. And when you put on too much, it's very difficult to get it to dry. So the stickiness is definitely an issue that we heard about when I was working with that product. Kelacoat also carries a spray, which is kind of unique in the marketplace. It is a silicone gel plus a propellant. And the positioning, the reason for having a product like this would be for scars that are sensitive to the touch. You know, if it hurts to touch it, or it's uncomfortable, or some patients are just freaked out by the scars and they don't want to touch it. It grosses, they find it gross. They don't want to touch their scar, so they can spray it, and it's a no touch option. It's also good for hard to reach places. If you live alone, you don't have anybody that can help you put your product on, and it's in like, on your back or in an area that's like on your, under your arms or something that's hard to reach, it can help with that. And then the other thing it can help with is for widespread scars. If you have scars that cover a big area, think of a burn scar or a big abrasion from an accident, it would be tedious to try and apply gel to that entire thing, where you can take the spray and spray over it quickly. and cover a large area at once. So theoretically, it does have a purpose, but for an everyday use, it's overkill. If you look at my little example here, if you see what happens when you think of it as in terms of painting. When you see spray paint, you get this big blob of it with spatter all around it, and quite often it drips down. You get that exact same thing with the Kelacoat spray. Think of most surgical scars. They are a straight line, very thin, stitched together. You don't need this big widespread spray. You need, instead of using spray paint, you essentially need a paintbrush. This is like doing the trim around the windows when you're painting. You just need that very fine, thin amount of product to cover that scar. So the gel is definitely more appropriate for most plastic surgery scars. So it's a novelty product. It does have some use, but again, it is overkill for most scars. It's also a couple of things to keep in mind is that it's a flammable aerosol. It's difficult to ship. It requires special hazard packaging and all kinds of stuff. When I was with Kelacoat, we had to send our one guy to special training just to learn how to ship and pack this product. So it's definitely a pain when it comes to that logistics side of things. There's also an inhalation risk. As you spray this, you're getting silicone in the aerosolized and in the air. If you breathe that in, it can be dangerous because we know that silicone does not break down in your body. It's bioinert. So you're getting the silicone in your lungs where you run the risk of getting granuloma and other issues with that. So it is best to not breathe in silicone, and with the Kelacoat spray, you do tend to breathe in a lot of it. And it is rather expensive for what it is. It's always been an expensive product for the amount of product in there, you waste a lot, as you can see with my spray paint example. So it's not that cost effective either. So yeah, it's kind of a fun novelty product, but your day-to-day workhorse is going to be your silicone gels. The UV product, for those of you who were in our UV training, I go into this much more in depth in the UV training. You can find it in there and listen to the recording of that training. So I'm going to just kind of run through the UV real quick. It is silicone gel plus chemical sunscreens. It's got polysiloxanes, silicon dioxide, which is essentially the Kelacoat portion of it. And then there are 4 added sunscreen agents. I'm sorry, my image overlapped some of my copy here. An isopropyl myristate is another product that is another ingredient that is in the product. And again, the same messaging, same purpose as what the NewGel Plus UV is. It's to help prevent UV damage and hyperpigmentation on fresher recent scars. Same positioning. They do have a 6 gram and a 15 gram tube size on this product, and everything that I said previously about the 6 gram tube applies here. It is also a Class 1 medical device, CE, and I think almost every product that I reviewed is a Class 1 medical device, has a CE mark on it. The biggest issues with Kelacoat UV is that it contains chemical sunscreens, whereas NewGel Plus UV has zinc oxide, a mineral sunscreen. They use chemical sunscreen agents, and one of them, oxybenzone, has created a lot of press in the last few years because it's been identified as an endocrine disruptor, which means that it can alter, mimic, or block hormone productions. And it's been shown to have estrogenic and anti-androgenic effects on the body. So remember, chemical sunscreens are absorbed into the body. They get into the bloodstream. We find it in urine samples. We find it in breast milk. We find it in all parts of the body. So this is definitely more of a systemic product. And with that oxybenzone, it's really become a much less desirable product. It also contains isopropyl myristate, which if you look up that product in Cosmetic Ingredient Review and other places, you will see that it's classified as a human skin irritant, and it says especially when used around the eyes or on the skin, which is exactly where we're using this product. So it can provide prolonged inflammation if it irritates the skin, and we know that anytime you have prolonged inflammation period, you're going to have a negative impact on the scar outcome, the scar appearance. It's also classified as comedogenic, meaning that it can clog pores and contribute to blackheads and acne. And it's not recommended for skin that's prone to acne. Meanwhile, a lot of people are treating acne scars with silicone products and have a lot of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation due to acne. And so, you know, again, this kind of flies in the face of what it's intended to be used for, and I'm not sure why they include this ingredient, but it's not one, you know, the option of having just the zinc oxide in NewGel plus UV is a much better option with almost no controversial ingredients or issues with the product. It also goes back to, you know, we know that silicone is what makes scars better. The sun protection is to prevent hyperpigmentation, but still we need that silicone to make the scars flatter, softer, reduce the discoloration, prevent hypertrophic and keloid scar formation. With NewGel plus UV, 80% of the formulation is silicone, 20% is our zinc oxide, and with Kelacoat UV, the amount of silicone is much diluted. It's down to at least 71.5%, or at the most 71.5% of their product. We don't know exactly how much isopropyl myristate is in there, but we do know that the 4 sunscreen ingredients comprise 28.5%. So, you know, when it comes to dealing with a scar, the more silicone, the better. Here's a just side-by-side comparison. Kelacoat, you know, they don't say whether they use medical grade silicone. They did not previously. I don't know if anything has changed, but it's doubtful. NewGel has that silky matte texture. It's not sticky and wet. It takes much longer for Kelacoat to dry than NewGel Plus. It is odor-free, where the Kelacoat regular gel is also odor-free, but their UV product has a strong suntan lotion or sunscreen smell to it. And it doesn't fade, it stays for a long time. They do have a sunscreen option, which is, you know, a plus for them. But as you can see in the next line, theirs contains chemical sunscreens, including oxybenzone in their UV product, which is not desirable. NewGel Plus offers both gels and sheeting, and Kelacoat only offers the gels and the spray. There is not a sheeting option with Kelacoat. And the other thing that we've had is stable ownership. We've had the same, you know, our products have not changed formulation or owners for, Mike knows for sure, but probably at least 15 years now. So you have that stability with this product, and we're not going anywhere. So you know what you're getting, and we make it ourselves. We don't use any contract manufacturers. Okay, so the next one would be Bouch Scar Care, which we spoke about before. Here's one of their flyers that I found online. They have in their regular gel, their regular silicone gel, which would be this tube on the left here, it is polysiloxanes and vitamin E, which is very similar to what the NewGel Plus E formulation is. They only have one size, it's a 20-gram tube. It claims to have a silky matte feel, but Mike said that he tried it and to him it felt sticky, and harder to dry. They do say that they are made with medical grade silicone. They're one of the only ones that I've seen actually say that in any of their materials or websites. And they are a complete formulation. They do have the UV formula and sheeting. Whoops. I'm sorry. So taking a look at their UV product and how it differs, they use titanium dioxide and it's only SPF 25, where NewGel plus UV is SPF 30, so you have a higher level of sun protection, as well as the fact that titanium dioxide is not as broad spectrum of an agent as zinc oxide is. So their ingredients are essentially polysiloxanes, vitamin E, titanium dioxide, and aluminum hydroxide. Due to the addition of this, their titanium dioxide, the product is very white and thick in color, and it's definitely not as user-friendly as what the NewGel Plus UV is, which is nearly invisible. Even with the zinc oxide, it becomes almost, you can't even see it on the skin. The BAP Scar Gel comes in a 10-gram tube for their UV, which is smaller than our 15-gram tube. And so here's the difference between zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. The zinc oxide in NewGel Plus UV covers the full range of UVB, UVA2, and UVA1 spectrum rays, where titanium dioxide covers UVB and only UVA2. It does not cover the UVA1 rays that are in the sun. So you do have even though both are considered broad spectrum because they cover UVB and UVA, zinc oxide covers even more in the UVA spectrum than what titanium dioxide does. And also, the other thing is titanium dioxide is less stable when exposed to UV light. So when you are out in the sun, it's more likely to break down than what zinc oxide would. Clinical proof, there are no known studies that I found using their formulation. They do not reveal the percentage of titanium dioxide, so we can't really determine how much silicone they have. They also don't say whether it's nanoparticles, and there are definite issues with nanoparticles where people do not like them because they feel that they get into your body in places that they shouldn't go because they're so small. They don't say whether it's nano or not. Where we have the zinc oxide that is micronized, it is not nanoparticles, so you know that it's safe for use. So if you look at it, I did the math, and 1% of titanium dioxide equals about 2.5 SPF units. So if you do the math on that at 25 SPF, it would be about 10% of the product, more or less. We don't know how much aluminum hydroxide is in there, but that's just kind of a ballpark amount in that product. So when you look at the product comparison, both of them do say that BAP Scar Care does say that it is medical grade. Obviously, NewGel Plus is as well. NewGel Plus is silky and not sticky. BAP Scar Care claims they are, but what Mike has said is that it's not. You know what, I thought I had an image in here of Mike's hand with, I'm not sure what happened to it. I had an image of Mike with their UV product on his hand, and you can see how thick and white it is. I'll send that out. NewGel Plus UV has a broader UV spectrum of coverage due to the zinc oxide versus titanium dioxide. Neither one of them contains chemical sunscreens, which is a good thing. NewGel Plus has multiple gel sizes. The BAP Scar Care seems to have one size of the gel with sunscreen and one size of the gel without sunscreen, so it limits your the buying options. And both are complete lines in that they offer sheeting, pure gel, and gel with sunscreen. So Dermatix is owned by Maida out of Switzerland, but this, when I started digging into this, it has gotten so confusing. I don't even understand it anymore, and it was confusing to begin with. So just an overview, the people that, oops, I'm sorry, this is, the top line is wrong, but that was from another slide. But actually, in some ways, yes, it is true. Dermatix was initially developed for Valiant Pharmaceuticals. And some of the guys that ran the Valiant on the Dermatix side of things came over and worked for Advanced Biotechnologies, the Kelacote people. And then there was issues with them, and they were asked to leave the company. And they went on to form Strat Pharma, which is a Strataderm, which is another product we'll talk about. But the folks that ran it, we had some issues with them at my previous company. Dermatix has a couple of different products. I just looked at the plain Dermatix. There is also a Dermatix Ultra that contains a vitamin C ester in it. It comes in 15-gram tubes and 60-gram tube sizes. I did not see a 6-gram in this item. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I could not find any. As of right now, Dermatix is owned by Meta Pharmaceuticals, but it's manufactured by Hansen Medical, a company in the United States. They don't manufacture it themselves. So this is where this product gets crazy. And, you know, Dermatix has basically become just a name, not a specific product. The Dermatix that you used 10 years ago is not the same Dermatix you're using today. And there could be, you know, 2 different products sold under the name Dermatix. There have been multiple manufacturers and multiple owners over time. So originally it was made for Valiant by Advanced Biotechnology. It was the same exact formulation as Kelacote. When they came off the line, half of the gel went into tubes marked Kelacote, the other half went into tubes marked Dermatix. They were exact same product. In 2007, ABT ended its agreement with Valiant. Valiant went to Hansen Medical in the US and bought their Scarfade formulation and put it in the tubes. And so it still said Dermatix, but it was a completely different product, different formulation. In 2008, Valiant sold off the European operations to Meta, and it sold off their Asia Pacific operations to Invita. At the time, they both continued to have Hansen make the product, but since then, Meta has partnered with Menarini in Asia, not Invita, and Menarini products now say that they're manufactured by a different company in the US, and they also have added an acne version just under the Menarini products, which is made in Italy. So you have Dermatix with multiple formulations, multiple manufacturers, you know, made by all over the world, and it has changed. So when somebody says they use Dermatix, ask them which one, because there are so many different versions that if they liked it 15 years ago, that's a completely different product than what they're using now. It still says Dermatix, but a completely different product inside. There are a lot of clinical studies published that say Dermatix, and those are a lot of the studies that all the companies that sell silicone gels use as proof of efficacy for silicone gels. The thing is that most of those studies were funded by Valiant, and they were done with the Kelacote version. So those studies said it works, but any of these newer formulations, that's not the same product. So you can't really compare it, you know, using these studies. So this has become a very convoluted, misleading product where the only thing that has remained the same is the name Dermatix, and they've taken a lot of license with continuing to call it Dermatix while changing what's on the inside all the time. Let's see. So if you compare them side by side, NewGel Plus is made with only medical grade silicone ingredients. Dermatix does not say anything about medical grade. It did not have medical grade when it was under the Kelacote formulation. I don't know, I can't speak to it now because for sure, but I do not see any mention of medical grade ingredients. Silky and not sticky. I will say that the Dermatix that is made by Hansen does have somewhat of a silky feel, not quite as nice as NewGel Plus E, but it does have more of that. But I can't speak for the version that's being made for Menarini in the Pacific East, because I've never had an opportunity to touch or feel that one. They do not have a sunscreen option. They do not offer both gels and sheeting. And they have not had stable ownership or a consistent product over the past 15 years. So, you don't know really what you're getting and how it compares to anything else because, every Dermatix nowadays seems to be a different product. It seems like this product actually was a lot more popular years ago than what I see now. It has been, it's obviously still a player in the markets, but because of all these changes and changes in distributors, I don't see Dermatix as the powerhouse that it was. When I was with Kelacote, that was our #1 competitor in the market. But now there's been other competitors that have come into play. So a newer product is on the market is Strataderm, which is manufactured, it's owned by Strat Pharma out of Switzerland. These are the same guys that started this company that are the ones that were the valiant guys that went to Kelacote and then got booted from Kelacote because they were doing not cool things. There were lawsuits and all sorts of issues with these guys. So they're, in my opinion, these guys, they make me cautious about, I would never want to do business with these guys. The ingredients in their Strataderm product are polydimethylsiloxanes, siloxanes, and alkymethyl siloxanes, which are all forms of silicone, essentially polysiloxanes. And so it is 100% silicone product. I'm not sure what they offer locally in your countries, but I do know that around the world there is a 5, 10, 20, and 50 gram size available, but what we mostly see is the 10 gram and the 20 gram as being available. One difference with this product is that it claims that it's only needs to be applied once a day, which is surprising because I don't know that I would love to see data on how much of it is left after 24 hours. So that is one of the things that they claim is a differentiating factor, is it only needs to be applied once a day and that it will last for 24 hours. But remember, silicone is a purely physical product. It works by forming that occlusive layer over the semi-occlusive layer over the surface of the skin. If it's not there, it's not working. So if it gets rubbed off, or it gets washed off or anything like that, you've lost any benefit from the product. If it's not there, it's not working. So the once daily application, while in theory sounds great, makes me a little bit concerned as far as efficacy long-term. It claims to be non-sticky and dry in 3 to 4 minutes, but it feels kind of like Kelacote. It almost has a little bit of a cloudy look to it. It's definitely sticky and wet looking and does not dry very quick at all, does not have that silky matte feeling like NewGel Plus E has. In the US, it is significantly more expensive than NewGel Plus. I don't know about, in your individual markets how it compares. Whoops. But here in the US, it is much more expensive. On the bottom here, I just have just an ad that I saw that was from an Australian distributor, but you can kind of see how they're marketing it. And they claim that it is a rapid drying, non-sticky, transparent silicone gel for the treatment of scars It's intended for the prevention of excessive scar formation, such as hypertrophic scars and keloids, sorry. I'm going to show you a little tip here. If you look at the directions on the right-hand side here, you see what I've circled. There's a statement that says, if it takes longer to dry, you have probably applied too much. Gently remove the excess with a tissue and allow the drying process to continue. If you see this on a package, and you will see this on a lot of these other silicone gels, that usually means that it is a sticky product and it's not going to dry unless you basically wipe off most of it. So if you see that in the directions, remove the excess. It most likely does not have that silky matte feel and is going to be a wet and sticky type of product. So look for that anytime you're trying to compare our products to any other products. Strat Pharma, we've puzzled about this here in the US because, as I said, it is one of our competitors here. They have two other products. They have a product called StrataMed, which is used on, can be used immediately after surgery. They call it a wound dressing. They also have a product called StrataCell, which they call a film forming wound dressing as well for sensitive skin. And they position this for like post laser resurfacing and things like that. If you look at the ingredients, all three of these products have the exact same ingredients. So I don't understand how they're possibly different and how one could be claimed to be, used as a wound dressing, since, most of the silicone gel products I know have to say not to be used on an open wound. That's just the way that that's the way that they are regulated. So they were able to get this StrataMed product approved by the FDA in some obscure device category to be addressing, but in the US, there's a lot of suspicion about that because most doctors are not comfortable using silicone in an open wound. So their idea is to have a product that can be used from the time the final suture is made until 3 months later, where you have the final scar outcome. So that's that is their product line. They do not offer any sheeting, just these three products, and no products with UV. So here's a side by side. StrataDerm does not make any mention as to whether they are medical grade. Usually if a product is medical grade, they brag about it. You'll see mention of that. They don't make any mention in their website or any place else about whether it is medical grade. It is sticky. It is not silky. Because it's sticky, it does not dry very fast. You get a faster drying time with NewGel Plus E. They are both odor-free. They don't have a sunscreen product, so there's no sunscreeny ingredients. It is pure silicone. But they do not have a sunscreen option, and they do not offer sheeting as in addition to the gel product. SpectraGel. This product just amazes me because it's so bad. I know SpectraGel is fairly predominant in the Middle East. Excuse me. SpectraGel has two products. They're just regular SpectraGel, and then they have something called SpectraGel 2Q. The regular SpectraGel comes in a 10-gram tube and a 28.4-gram tube, where the 2Q comes in just a 10-gram tube. The only ingredients that are listed on either product is just polysiloxane, singular, polysiloxane. So, there's no differentiation between ingredients of the two, but they claim that they're different products. The 2Q product is the newer product, and it says that it's designed for sensitive skin, especially the face. They talk about using it for redness, often associated with laser surgery and resurfacing of the face. And they say it's a lighter formula that has improved drying time than the original. Well, I bought both of these products on Amazon and tried both of them, and I do not see any difference whatsoever between the two products, and they never dried for me. The product quality, everything around this product and the product quality is just so cheap. It's very wet and sticky. It feels almost like an oil. It does not dry. I tried doing, I put some on and I kept checking back every 5 minutes at where I had placed it, and it never dried. It stayed shiny and sticky and wet for more than 20 minutes. It would make a mess of your clothing if you wore this under clothes. It is just so not a nice product to use. The smaller tube, as you can see in this photo here, it has a cap that just slides on. It doesn't screw on, it doesn't tighten in any way. I mean, if you tried to carry this anywhere, it would be a mess because the cap would come off, and it just doesn't seem very secure. I mean, it seems almost more like a cheap sample tube, not a for sale product. Just terrible. The cartons, if you can see these cartons here, these are online, picture online. Do you see how bent they are? And do you see how the flap ends are all bowed out? Their cartons are made with such a thin material that they crush so easily. So I can't even imagine packing and shipping these, you know, internationally, then shipping them to a pharmacy and a pharmacy putting them on the shelf. They would have to look so bad by the time the end customer gets to them that they're probably, you know, they just has a very, very bad look to it and product image. Their branding and marketing is terrible. They have almost no marketing. You don't really see much of anything promoting these products out there. Their website has almost no information on it. And even, you know, if you look at the packaging here, they have two products. One's supposed to be the newer, better version of the other, but there's no cohesiveness to the branding. The packaging is completely different, different colors, different, and even different logo fonts and stuff. I mean, it's just, you know, one's italic, one's not. It just seems, their attention to detail is terrible. It's worth noting that this product is actually made in the US by a company called Spectra Designs, but we never see this product in the US. It's not sold or promoted here. I was able to get it on Amazon, but you know, this product has never ever come up in a conversation with a doctor in the US, and it is not a widely sold product here at all. So, you know, if a doctor's recommending this, you know, say, doctor, you're much better than this product. This product is cheap. Yes, it's cheap price-wise, but it is cheap all the way around. This is, you know, it just gives a bad impression, and by you referring that, it gives a bad impression of you. You deserve a product that has a much better, you know, presentation, look, feel, marketing, all of that kind of stuff, and you're going to get that with NewGel Plus E. So SpectraGel is, it does not make any mention of medical grade silicone. I'm assuming it is not. It is so wet and sticky, it does not dry. Just one thing that it does have going for it is that it is odor free, but there is no sunscreen option, no other options out there besides just the two sizes of it. And they do not offer both gels and sheeting in most markets. I will say that online I did see some limited sheeting items on their US and their corporate website, but I have yet to see it promoted out there. You guys can let me know if you do see that in your markets, and we can address that, but I have not seen it. So SpectraGel is just, I mean, if somebody says they like SpectraGel, I mean, the best thing to do is to do a side-by-side comparison. Say, doctor, have you had a chance to feel what SpectraGel feels like these days? And if you put that on your hand or on a doctor's hand side-by-side with NewGel Plus E, they will see the difference immediately and realize what a better product NewGel Plus E is than SpectraGel, because guaranteed they would not want to use SpectraGel the way that it feels and the way it stays wet and shiny and sticky.
Lisa,
Yep.
I would like to, this is a very good point for everyone. We in the US, we had a major competitor, actually they were #1 that Lisa mentioned. It was part of Kilocode, and then thanks to Lisa, we built the first and only product to this day with zinc oxide, no chemical booster, and our silicone patent formula. The nice thing about what we do when we're in the salespeople, what we train in the field, is to, as Lisa said, take SpectraGel. They're using or referring SpectraGel to their customer, and they're telling you because the price is lower, and just say, okay, you are referring this to your patient. You care about your patient. Let's do a side-by-side. Will you put NewGel on your body or you put SpectraGel? So get a SpectraGel tube or maybe some other tube and put side-by-side. I'll guarantee you 99% that the doctor at least will say, oh, we should refer other customers. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure that this is a good tool you've used to do side-by-side with other competitors. That's it. Thank you.
I put together this chart with the kind of the biggest brands out there, and the ones that have multiple, UV products, et cetera. And as a comparison chart here, there are more, and we're going to talk about a few more other types of products that seem to be more regional products. It just becomes, you'd never be able to read it if I add every single one of these, but we do have kind of a master spreadsheet that we have that will have all of these other regional products on it as well. But you can, you can compare it, and it's everything we talked about. And this is, if you see a new product come into market, without waiting for us to tell you how it's different, just put on your detective hat and look at it and say, is it all silicone? Because silicone is the gold standard. If it's not silicone, well, then that's a disadvantage. If it is silicone, is it medical grade? Does it have vitamin E in it or anything else? Vitamin E, we have a small amount of vitamin E added for moisturizing potential, but consumers think vitamin E works very well for scars. It's not as clinically effective on treating scars per se used on its own, but the perception is there. So from a consumer standpoint, the fact that it includes vitamin E is a good point. It also looks at, is it a full service? If you look at this new product, say that comes on the market, say, do they have a full line of products? Can I offer them a product to treat every scar? Does it have sheeting? Does it have UV? Does it have all of this? And these are the kinds of things that when you look at it, when you think of what the advantages of NewGel products are, anytime you have a new competitor, just compare them on these types of points, and you'll be able to look at any product and say how it's different than NewGel Plus E. So a couple of more regional players. Silderm, it's crazy how interwoven so many of these companies are, but Silderm, the guy who started this company, used to work for Kelacote as well. He was the head of the UK operations for Advanced Biotechnologies. This product is geared more towards OBGYN market. They also took some products that we also sold in the US for stretch marks and labeled those under the Silderm label as well. So their focus is more stretch marks, C-section scars, things like that. When they first launched, they were made by Kelacote, just like Dermatix used to be, same thing. They came off the line in the Silderm tube. I'm not sure whether that is still the truth because they've had about 3 different package changes appearance-wise over time, so I'm not 100% sure. And they have this scar spray that is a pump, not an aerosol, and Kelacote did not have a spray like that, so that makes me think that maybe they have changed manufacturers since then. They have a small 6-gram tube that's the type of tube we're familiar with, but their 15-gram tube only comes with this roller ball attachment on the head. And in theory, this is great because everybody talks about the need to massage scars to keep them soft. And that's what these roller balls will do. The problem is that when you have a roller ball, when you picture that ball rolling across, what was on the outside of the bottle, after a short distance rolling it, now is on the inside of the bottle. So any bacteria or anything that's on the skin as you roll across it is getting picked up and put back into the product that's in the tube. And so it's really not a hygienic way to do things. Roller balls in general are not good products just because of the contamination potential. So, it's either that tiny little tube or the roller ball. You don't have many options here. There's not a lot of information available about this product online. I don't know if it's a big player in anyone's market. Let me know and we can dig into it deeper. But it's 100% silicone gel, very similar to the others, but you can see these differences in packaging. ScarMed is a product that comes out of Jordan. It's made by Philadelphia Pharmaceuticals and promoted by Sana Pharma. Their materials say that it is a scar gel based on silicone oil technology, and the ingredients say silicone and dimethicone. As soon as I saw silicone oil, what immediately came to my mind? Greasy, oily, sticky. So, that's when something is predominantly an oil, that's what you're going to have. And so it's going to have a drying problem. They do have two versions of this product. They have the regular product, which is all silicone, and then they have their ScarMed Plus product. It's got 4 sunscreen agents in it, and it has SPF 30. The fact that there are 4 sunscreen agents, I was not able to find an ingredient list on these products anywhere, and I searched high and low to get the exact details. But when you use 4 sunscreen agents, that almost always means that they are chemical sunscreens, and we've addressed that, like Kelacoat UV has chemical sunscreens. There's a lot of issues with chemical sunscreens, and dermatologists definitely prefer a physical sunscreen like zinc oxide over chemical sunscreens. One of the claims of these products is that they have less viscosity, meaning they're not as thick. But if they're not as thick, that means they're going to be oilier, and thinner and oilier. So I don't view that as a selling feature. And I have not felt these products or touched these products. So somebody else who does have these in their area may be able to speak to it better and let me know, if you have any further info on that. Rejuvesil is this is the Scar Heal product. It's made in the US. It would be the silicone component to the epiderm, the Scar FX sheets that are also produced by Scar Heal. Its ingredient has 4 main ingredients, which would be the silicones, squalane, vitamin C, and emu oil. So anytime you see emu oil, you know that it's going to have a potential oiliness to it. And it claims to be 97% silicone. If it is, then there's not much of any of these other products in there to speak of. Those are more like moisturizing, barrier repair types of products. So remember, 100% silicone is what is recommended by the Scar experts. The other downside to Rejuvesil is that they say to apply it 2 to 3 times per day. Having to apply it more times a day is less convenient for a patient, and it also leads me to believe that it doesn't stay on the skin very well. Otherwise, you would be able to do it twice a day like you can NewGel Plus E. So again, these other ingredients, the emu oil, the squalane, vitamin C, in and of themselves, they're good ingredients, but they are not anywhere as in the international clinical recommendations on scar management as products to use. ScarPro, it was on the list that Ahmed gave me. It's produced by Avalon Pharma out of Saudi Arabia. It is not even on the Avalon website. I found this image here of this carton, and that is all I could find anywhere on this product. So I apologize that I have not been able to find more on it. There is a Facebook page that is a combination. It says Avomed plus ScarPro, and Avomed is a wound gel, like a healing gel that is produced also by Avalon Pharma. So I don't know if this is newer or what, but I can't find any information. So maybe if our Saudi Arabian distributors or anyone who has this can send us some information on this product, because I was not able to find anything, and I apologize about that. Whoops. Scaro is a product made by Macro Pharmaceuticals out of Cairo, Egypt. They have 3 different products. They have a cream plus, and a gel version. Those are the only products in the line. They do not have any sheeting that goes with their product line that I was able to find. Their regular gel, their gel product is, they call it a triple silicone blend, where it has 3 different siloxanes listed, which still makes, most silicone gels are made of multiple types of silicones to get them to the consistency that we want them to. So that's not that unique. It has a 50-gram tube as its only option, which is very large. If you have a very small scar, it's overkill. Plus, it's more difficult to travel with or to carry with you. But it is 100% silicone. I have not been able to touch or feel this, so someone who has this product will be able to speak to that more. But this is the information that I was able to find. Scaro Cream has all of these other products in it. It's got silicone in it. It's got onion extract, vitamin E, olive oil, almond oil, titanium dioxide in an oil and water cream base. It too is only available in a 50-gram tube size. There's a much lower concentration of silicone than in NewGel Plus E based on all these other ingredients. You just can't maintain a high level of silicone and add in 5 extra ingredients and have a water cream base. So oil and water cream base. So remember that silicone is what does the job. Silicone is what's recommended. So the more silicone, the better. These other ingredients, while they probably feel nice and are moisturizing, there's no indication that they are beneficial for scars. No clinical proof. When you add oils to the product, it's going to make it greasier, not silky and matte. So that may, affect the feel of the product. Again, I have not been able to touch it, so I don't know exactly what it feels like. But we'll get info on that. It states that it has extra sun protection properties, and I'm assuming that's because it has titanium dioxide in it, but there's no mention of any SPF level. And we know from what we talked about with BAP Scar Care that titanium dioxide does not cover as broad of a UVA spectrum as what zinc oxide does. So again, it does have titanium dioxide. It says it protects from the sun, but we have no idea from what I've been able to see how much is in there. And as you can see on these images from the packaging, it does not list any SPF number. And again, like I said, these things are great. They're not bad ingredients, but there's just no proof that they work for scars. So, the more silicone, the better. So Scaro Cream Plus apparently is a newer one, and it adds even more oils into it. Now you have almond oil, soybean oil, olive oil, emu oil. Also continues to have the onion extract in it, but they have quercetin, allantoin, which is like a soothing agent, and it says that it has sunscreen in it as well. Again, no SPF number on the packaging. I haven't been able to touch and feel it, but it does, again, has even more ingredients, which means the amount of silicone silicone in it is going to be even lower. And with the oils, it's gonna have an oily feel to it. And again, these things are nice to have. They may feel good, but if you are really concerned about preventing or treating your scar, stick with silicone. So those are the lengthy list of silicone-based competitors. There's just a few more competitors I did want to review that are not silicone-based products. And as soon as I say non-silicone gel and cream, the first assumption you can make is that since they're not silicone, they're not going to be recommended as clinically proven treatments for scar prevention and treatment of abnormal scars like silicone is. So these are nice products, but the international clinical recommendations, the European Chinese scar treatment, the European guidelines, the Chinese guidelines, all say silicone is the #1 choice, the gold standard for the prevention and treatment of scars. And so there's just not going to be evidence of efficacy of these products to any length. One that's been around for a long time, it says it's been used for more than 50 years actually, is Contractubix gel. It's produced by MERS. It's available in a 20-gram metal tube. It has 3 main active ingredients: onion extract, heparin, and allantoin. So, and you can see onion extract is, they claim, is anti-inflammatory and bactericidal, and it helps prevent the formation of excessive scar tissue. The authors of the clinical recommendations and most articles you will read say there's really not much good evidence that onion extract is efficacious. It has heparin in it, which is an anticoagulant. This is what people use to help prevent blood clots if they've had heart valve replacement or all of these types of things. It is only available by prescription. So this product is not available in the United States because it cannot have the heparin in it. So it may be helpful, but it also has, it's heparin. So you have to be careful with that. And allantoin is, it's more of a soothing, softening, penetration enhancer we have it in our bruise gel, but again, it's not really a clinically proven for anything more than like skin protection, moisturizing type of thing. They claim that the triple benefit is that it prevents excessive scarring, reduces redness and itching, and it improves elasticity and softness, which is exactly more or less what all of the other products claim as well. In the US, this product was launched as Mederma minus the heparin. It's a huge commercial product here. But again, if you read all of the literature, the doctors will say that there's very little evidence that it actually does anything. There's very conflicting studies. It has a funky smell to it because of the onion extract. I can't even explain it, but it has a very strange smell. You can see that this is what they claim is their mechanism of action here, that inhibits fibroblast proliferation, loosens the collagen structure, which I've never heard of, but maybe that is something to do with the heparin. I don't know. But again, not silicone, so it is not recommended. Something that's unique to the Middle East, although it was available on American Amazon, is Mebo. It stands for Moist Exposed Burn Ointment, and this product is more of a wound healing product. It says that it can help prevent scars, but remember, one of the key factors to good scar formation is to move quickly through those out of the inflammatory stage of wound healing and into the epithelialization stage. And that's basically what this does. It helps it heal well so that it's less likely to form a scar. It does not have any real scar treatment effects. It does have, some reduction of water evaporation or transepidermal water loss, but really this product is focused a lot on burns, and it's designed more for the treatment from the time you've had the surgery and injury until the wound is fully closed. It's not a product that doesn't make any sense to use this product beyond the time the wound has healed, that you're not going to see, it doesn't have proven benefits beyond that to reduce the appearance of scars or help prevent abnormal scars from forming. So, I think this is likely one of those local, like traditional kinds of products that everybody uses for things. But if you are looking at serious scar treatment and prevention, then you need to go to a silicone product. I have not had a chance to touch or feel this product, but Mike said it has a strong odor. So there are definitely better choices than this out there. And if somebody's really in love with this product, say great, use that until the wound closes. Maybe you use that for the first 3 weeks or something like that. Then you would want to switch to a silicone-based product that is meant for scar prevention and treatment, where this is a healing product. And then I believe this is the last one, Scarnox. This product was developed by a company called NewBelva out of Canada. They actively promote the fact that it does not contain silicone and that it is a water-based product. You can see on their graphic at the bottom, they have a polysaccharide that they claim has occlusive properties that are better than silicone. It has sodium hyaluronate, which is hyaluronic acid, which is a moisturizing agent, aloe vera, and something that they call glycofilm. So no silicone in there. None of these products that I'm seeing here have any clinical benefit that has in published clinical studies. It's not something that's available I looked it up, and believe it or not, even though this is out there, it's not available on the US Amazon website anymore, and it's not available on the Canadian Amazon website anymore. So I'm not sure what the status of this product is, if they're going to continue it or if it's, what the situation is. It is a water-based product. It does work on the idea of occlusion, but occlusion is, that's what silicone does. But silicone does it better than moisturizing agents do. It actually forms a physical barrier to prevent transepidermal water loss. From what I see, it only comes in a 20-gram tube, and it's the only scar product in their line. They have a bruise product called Bruisox, but there are no other, there's no UV type of product or sheeting. They do not make any claims of clinical evidence of efficacy or clinical studies. And at the bottom here, it just kind of tells you something about what they claim that it does, improving oxygenation through neoangiogenesis, meaning that it's stimulating the growth of new blood vessels. But that's only important in the early phases. That those blood vessels are what causes scars to be red, and as they reduce over time, it improves the appearance of the scar. So that's a double-edged sword. It's good and it's bad to increase neoangiogenesis. If anybody, I don't know how that smells, or anything like that. So if anybody has any input on that or can get us some products, let me know. And that is the end of the direct competitors. But this is what my key takeaway is. That is the biggest difference between NewGel Plus and any of the other competitors is you. You can have so many of them sound so similar that it's you are what's going to make the biggest difference to that customer. You with a friendly personality that builds a relationship with these doctors, with these pharmacists, what have you, they're going to buy from you. People buy from people, not products. So if somebody feels that two products are equal, they will buy from who they like the best. You need to be knowledgeable about the products. If you sound like you know a lot about the products and you have good science, they're going to trust you and use your products. If you provide good customer service, if you're responsive to their needs, if you're providing them with brochures, if whatever your customers need, be it a doctor's office or a pharmacy or a wholesaler or whatever, providing good customer service gives the product a good reputation. Nice marketing materials. I mean, you think we saw with Spectrogel how junky and how bad the product looks because it's not packaged well, and it's like they don't really care. Having nice materials that are visually appealing, having brochures available for the doctors, all of this combined with the care we take when selecting packaging materials all presents a nice product to the doctors. And then finally, obviously, you have to have a quality product, and we do with NewGel Plus. So, don't underestimate the U factor in selling these products because again, relationships sell just as much as some of these other factors. So that is all. I know I've talked a very long time, 2 hours almost, but there are a lot of competitors that you guys identified. Hopefully this will shed some light on some of that. And Mike, let's see if you've been monitoring the chat. I'll kind of turn it over to you to see if there's anything that we need to cover. Mike, are you muted? We may have lost Mike.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I'm
There
good.
he is.
Hold on. Yeah. Okay. Hold on 1 second, Lisa. Just a second. 1 second.
Ahmed, anything that you would like to reinforce or mention? You're also on mute, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're in both of us. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, thank you. No, that's a great. I was on a call trying to deal with some manufacturing things. So sorry about that. But no, that's it. Thank you very much. This, I think, was thorough. We have a lot of information. Of course, we can, Ahmed and the team here, you guys feel free to send any email, any questions, any things that you guys want to in the future to cover. But that's a good start, and it's very thorough, and it's about almost, what is it, 2 hours now?
Yeah, it's 2 hours, yes.
Yeah, so I think that's enough information for 1 day or 1 month, and then we will. Thank you, Lisa. It was great. She was up until like 2 in the morning last night to finish this. So thank you. Thank you, everyone, for attending this training, and looking forward to working with all of you, and hopefully everybody will get over this stupid thing of the COVID, and everyone will be vaccinated, and we'll have no COVID and get together with you guys soon. So anything else, Ahmed, you want to add?
Yes, Mike, I would like to thank Lisa again for this informative training. Thank you very much, and for your managing for this training, Mike. And again, I would emphasize for the last slides of Lisa, the biggest difference is you. And also, as you know, the people's makes difference. I would like to thank you for what you did with regarding last year with achievement. Although we have a challenge here, I would like to continue for the success to be #1 market share of the NewGel all over the world. Thank you, my colleagues. Thank you very much.
Okay, everyone, I hope you have a great rest of your evening for most of you. We're just getting started here. But if you have questions, you can contact Ahmed, me, whomever, and we will make sure that, that we get back to you. And if you have any of these products or materials from any of these products that you think it would be beneficial for me to have, send those along too. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And according to Ahmed, this is the last training of the year. So
Yes.
have a wonderful rest of the year.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.